Session regular meeting, March 28th, 2023. It is 6:30 p.m. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting. I'd like to stand, have a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Now the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up is the review of the agenda and adoption of the agenda. Does anyone have any changes, additions to the agenda or questions? If not, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Ms. Hall, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you both. Mr. Dorsey, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Consider approval of minutes for regular meeting, February 28th, 2023. Any questions or move to a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of February 28th, 2023.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey,
I second.
second by Ms. Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass 3-0. On to student and staff recognition. Student recognition for Baker Intermediate School, Ms. Christy Bush and Josh Bounce.
You want me to read or do you want?
Small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect, bringing about big positivity. Two Baker students, Miss Elena Swart and Colton Duncan, know this to be true and wrote about their experiences for the first Random Acts of Kindness essay contest. For the contest, an anonymous donor and a committee of local citizens solicited essays from the Clark County students about how random acts of kindness have impacted them. Out of more than 45 entries, Ms. Swart was selected for the first place at BIS for an essay about helping her mom out around the house and how it brightened her day. She won $3,000 to be given to the charity of her choice. Please help me congratulate Ms. Swart.
She's currently in
Accepting on behalf of daughter, Mr. Tom Swart.
Colton wrote an essay explaining multiple ways random acts of kindness have impacted his life, and he won $2,000 for the charity of his choice. Both students are selected also for the Marco Shimwell Foundation as their charity. The Kentucky,
Oh,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, you're still up.
The Kentucky United Nations Assembly, KUNA, is a 3-day experimental learning conference in which students participate directly in simulated international diplomacy. KUNA offers students the opportunity to experience the richness of cultures from around the world, development for empathy, and hone their critical thinking skills while engaging with a wide variety of perspectives and global issues. We have 2 students that will be recognized this evening, and then we have many more students from KUNA that will be recognized at another time. But if you would please help us in congratulating Mr. Jones Howard. And Miss Caitlin Folks.
You get a picture too.
Serious? Oh, yeah, no.
You just want me to bring it up?
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bush. As she mentioned, we plan on having, a little off script here, but we do plan on having our next board meeting, our regular meeting next month at GRC's auditorium. So there will be a lot more recognitions next month, so hopefully everyone can attend. A lot more students, that's the reason we're moving the meeting next month. All right, next up is student recognition for technology. Mr. Casey. Come on up front. We got the seats up front.
All right, the next group we want to recognize are the STLP students who have qualified, who are state STLP qualifiers. We have quite a few STLP students across the district. These students qualified for the state competition in April in several categories that will be listed here in just a second. STLP stands for Student Technology Leadership Program, and it's centered around giving students the opportunity to create projects and design projects that positively affect their school and their community. So we're going to start with our state qualifiers from Concrite, and this first up is Jacob McKinney. Jacob, we'll walk through this way and have our picture taken with Superintendent Howard. Next up from Concrite, Jackson Sands. Next is Oliver Rouse. Walker Bush. Also from Concrite, Danielle Yates. And we also have several teachers that assist at each school with STLP, and from Concrite, helping out quite a bit is Kristen Pruitt. All right, next up is our group from Justice that qualified for state.
Are we switching out parents?
Yeah. So Concrite parents may head out.
Congratulations, Concrite. Thank you all.
Is that on the, I think that's them on the phone.
No, just this person getting her stroke flags.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
We got some more seats over here.
All right, that was a great group from Concrite. Next up are STLP qualifiers from Justice Elementary. First off, Isabel Bradley. Right up there by by Superintendent Howard.
Get a good picture, all right. It look good. There we go.
Right over here, sweetie. Are you ready?
Oh, we got a mama probably look good.
Right here. Good job, sis.
Next up, from Justice, Clara Poole.
Oh, back here. Oh,
Back at the back.
Next up, Olivia McQuinn. And just a side note, Olivia, Isabel, and Clara have also already moved on as state semifinalists. Their projects were already judged. Continuing on, Justice Savannah Fry. Next up, Colton Wilson. Next up, Brooklyn Calvert. Also from Justice, Nolan Shepherd. Farrah Warland is next. And our final state qualifier from Justice is Cadence Combs. We're going to do the parent switch. Okay. All right, our next group is from Shearer Elementary.
Thank you all. Congratulations.
I saw that. I just want to say.
All right, our group from Shearer is next. First up, Aubrey Hill. Picture of Superintendent Howard, thank you.
Good? Okay.
Next up is Briley Gillespie. And our final student from Shearer is Alexis Hill.
Just one second, okay.
All right, here we go. Thank you.
All right, come on over.
And last but not least, another one of our outstanding STLP coordinating teachers is Adora Williams.
Congratulations.
Come on in, front row's yours. Can see the excitement in your eyes.
Hey, you're not. Peyton is too.
Hey, Justin, what's the next group?
Yeah, just one more group, Strode Station, it's our last group.
Strode.
Is this where you want to give an ad speech or?
I'm okay right now. I think I'm good. All right, our fourth and final group is from Strode Station Elementary. Again, these are the STLP state qualifiers. First off, Ariana Foley. Ariana Foley. Congratulations. You're walking through. Pictures.
Come on up.
Next, Addison Boyd.
Shot down.
Next up, Amanpreet Kaur. Next up from Strode is Emily Stack.
Congratulations.
Next up, Ayla Tomey. Next, Liam Turner. Liam Turner. Oh.
Good job, man. I know you want to be last. Because I saw you celebrate back here.
Next, Chloe Overby.
Oh, one more. Oh, let's see more stuff. Come on back. Come on, girl.
Two more students, Brantley Burton.
Congratulations. My second to last. Congratulations.
And Emerson Shelton. We also have one final certificate to give. She didn't know this was coming. We have never had 4 STLP programs going on simultaneously at all 4 elementary schools, and one person made that come to fruition, and that is Mrs. Jennifer Turley. So the board and Superintendent Howard, myself, would like to recognize Mrs. Turley for her tireless work in planning, implementing, coordinating STLP programs at 4 elementary schools. Mrs. Turley has created school-wide STLP programs, like I said, where they didn't always exist before, and in less than 1 school year has already helped numerous students qualify for the state competition. So great job, Jennifer Turley.
You all are,
Nice job.
you all are the reason.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Sterling. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Go make sure my practice is going good.
They on your team? It was awesome. It was awesome. Okay, next up is recognition of orchestra staff. Recognition of orchestra staff and program for receiving all distinguished ratings at District 7 Kentucky Music Educators Association Assessment Event. Ms. Bush.
Is this not an exciting evening? We had 119 students to celebrate from just this also that we've already done to add 119 more. Please help me in congratulating orchestra staff and program for receiving all distinguished District 7. And we have those students from Baker, Campbell, and George Rogers Clark. And please help us to award Mr. Moore in that
And Ms.
Mr.
Rohr, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Ms. Rohr and I will be presenting the certificates to the students in person. But 109 was a little tight to fit in here. We're super stoked and proud. So please pass on out. Congratulations. We'll be there to celebrate.
Next up is staff recognition of Clark County Public School Police Department and Maintenance Department for their work at Phoenix as a result of the recent building damage. Mr. Walker.
All right, so a few weeks ago on a Friday night, we had some damage, early Saturday morning, we had some damage to one of our school buildings. And we had a special effort by our maintenance staff to come in on a weekend. They spent many hours on Saturday and Sunday repairing that building and that facility so that it could have kids on Monday. And the way it was on early Saturday morning, we would not have been able to have kids there, and then that would have impacted the ability to even have school possibly. So hats off to them. They came in, worked hard, and I mean, it was, I drove, went and looked at it Sunday evening, and I was just amazed by how well everything was cleaned up and how good it looked. So thank you all, and want to recognize Mike Walker.
Don, you went up the picture too. Be back there, woman. I'm gonna give you attention. Okay, all right.
Nice job, guys. Thank you. Public comments, do we have any public comments? No public comments. Next up is Student Learning and Instructional Services, Baker Intermediate School Update, Mr. Josh Mounts.
That's hard to follow. Bunch of great students and departments. Let me start off by saying, one, good evening and happy birthday, Miss Hall, to
Thank
you. I have, for those who don't know, I have Miss Cindy Whiteside. She's one of our awesome counselors at Baker, one of 3. She's going to be helping with our presentation tonight. And this is one of 2 assistant principals. This is Mrs. Renee Ware. She's our 5th grade assistant principal. So, and I'll apologize ahead of time. I only have about an hour's worth of material tonight.
Somebody get the shepherd.
So the boss, he's put me on a leash 10 minutes, so I'm going to see if I can make you proud tonight. When I do this, Ms. Turley, we can just move on to the next slide there. What you see there is our school motto, Believe, Inspire, Succeed. We begin every morning and end every afternoon with the saying of our motto. You can ask kids, and most of them will probably tell you that is our school motto. Just to kind of give you a synopsis of what our population looks like, we fluctuate anywhere. At our highest point, we were at 880, and that was roughly 9 years ago. Currently, we sit at around 733 students. We picked up a couple of more this week. We have a population that is about 59% free and reduced lunch. You see our racial demographics there. So that's what our student body looks like. I do want to start off with some strengths and celebrations that we do have. We love our configuration, and we're biased because we work there and almost live there. To our knowledge, we are the only 5th and 6th grade school in the state of Kentucky, and that comes with a lot of benefits, and I'm sure there's some downside to it, but 5th and 6th graders are special, and they're kind of in between. They're not teenagers, they're those preteens. It's a great configuration developmentally. It keeps our kids, I think, a little more innocent. I can't go on any further without giving a big shout out to our teachers and staff. They're committed to students and their families. We have strong teacher leaders. I wish I could march them up here. I might do that next month at the board meeting at GRC, but we have strong teacher leaders, team leaders, core content leaders that make Baker go daily. And we have a wonderful staff. We've got a custodian. He's been there for 43 years in our district. And we've got first-year teachers and people new to our district. So we're a very diverse staff in terms of tenure. One of our strengths is our co-teaching model, and when I say co-teaching, I'm talking about students, exceptional students, and exceptional teachers. They co-teach together, so you'll have a gen ed and a special education teacher, and they work well together, and there's 7 different co-teaching models, and we've really poured a lot of time, effort, and energy into making our co-teaching models the best that they can be. We have strong professional learning communities that take place every Tuesday and actually go on pretty much every day through teacher conversation and collaboration. Very proud of our performing arts department. Since 2014, anytime that they have entered the assessment, they have not scored. They've scored the highest. They've been distinguished for 9 years, minus the COVID year. So very proud. You saw Mrs. Rohr. She's been with us since the beginning. Mr. Leedy, as well as Mrs. Arthur, our course director. We have over 25 clubs and extracurricular opportunities. Our kiddos have the opportunity to play sports and athletics, play up at RDC. We have, at last assessment, when the results came in, we were a green school, according to last year's KSA, Kentucky Summative Assessment results. Baker is, I like to think it's a good place to work, and hopefully my teachers and staff feel the same way. Our 2022 impact survey revealed that it is a very positive culture and climate. People work well together, and I think with any job, if you have people that work well together, in particular with the school working together for kids, you're going to have those things will take care of themselves. We have low staff turnover, and that fluctuates from year to year. And that's kind of us in a nutshell. We do feed the kids. And when I say that, I just wanted to give you just a random statistic here, but I asked Ms. Spicer, our cafeteria manager, how many kids did we feed last year? How many meals did we prepare? We prepared over 57,000 breakfasts, 82,000 lunches, for a grand total of 140,676 meals altogether. We have a very active PTO and volunteer network, and I think Ms. Ware will talk about that in just a few moments. We have strong ties to our community and business partners, and then most recently, Conkright and Baker, we were named family-friendly schools by the Kentucky Department of Education. I think that was the Pritchard Committee. And then a huge celebration, especially in the eyes of kids, is that first thing you see on the bottom line there. We have a new playground. And thank you to the board and our superintendent for making that happen. And we're probably going to open it the week after spring break. It's looking good. Aren't we? But the weather's warming up and the kids are looking at it. And if you haven't had an opportunity to drive by Baker, it's like a cathedral in the backfield there, and the kids are pumped about that. Of course, we've got new bleachers. So anytime you get something new for your school, it's a shot in the arm, and it raises morale in our building. So what is new at Baker? And I tried to narrow this down to two things I'd like Mrs. Ware, Mrs. Whiteside to talk about tonight. Two initiatives we poured a lot of funding, effort, and energy in. One is our youth service center, and the other is our new counseling, we call it a suite, but our new counseling area and services. So I'm going to let them speak to that now.
Thank you, Mr. Mounts. On the next slide there, you can see that our expansion of our counseling service includes counseling staff increasing. And you can see our staff there in the pictures. Miss McKenna Jackson is one of the student advocacy specialists. We're so thankful to have that additional staff to support us. We share student advocacy specialists throughout the district, and she is the one that is assigned to Baker, and she's very helpful and forms a lot of connections with the kids, does home visits and a lot of very helpful things. And as you said, I'm Cindy Whiteside. I'm one of the three, and the other two counselors are pictured there, Miss Terry Bailey and then Emily Daniels. So we are very excited to have our new counseling suite. If you haven't seen it and you're in the building, please come see it. It's very student-oriented. It's run a lot like a classroom in that we have small groups going on in there, and a lot of things that I'll show you here in just a minute. But it has been a wonderful addition to our program and very student-centered, and we're very thankful for that. So thank you to all who, I know our maintenance department was very huge, instrumental in getting that taken care of and getting that prepared for us. So thank you to them as well. Then we can go to the next one. So you can see some pictures there of our calm down area. It's kind of behind that storage area there. The picture on the left shows the front of the calm down area. On the back side, it's kind of hidden just a little bit, but open enough to where we can always have a good view of what's going on behind it. But we have a tent in there, a hammock. We have some calming LED lights, some calming music that plays, some bean bags, lots of things kids can do in that area. It's utilized a lot all day long there. And this is some other things in our program. You can actually see, at the bottom there, some kids actually utilizing some of the things. And some of the kids just need a minute in the tent to regroup if they become overstimulated. And it's a wonderful area for a lot of kids throughout the day. And just some of our program resources there you can see in the building. This is where we run our small groups. So it's also in our counseling suite, but it's just behind a divider wall. And then we have a large screen over there where we can show videos, and we do lots of trainings and different things in that area as well. So that's kind of what it looks like. And there's also 3 offices in there for individual sessions that we do. I'll talk about that more in a minute. But the calm down area is definitely a place that students can decompress. We conduct the small groups, like I said. Those small groups have targeted anxiety, social skills, resilience, positive mindset, friendship. We've even incorporated some grief programs in there as well for some of our kids experiencing that. And then conducting the individual counseling, conflict resolution, and threat assessments happens more so in those 3 offices that the 3 counselors each have one. And then the daily breaks for students. So we do have schedules of students who need those daily breaks, some of our higher need at-risk kids, and so they're scheduled at certain times throughout the day. They come in, they know the drill, they set their little timer, they know what programs they're gonna use, they clean up, and then they go back to class. So it's been very helpful. We can go to the next one. And then some of our other programs we do, school-wide involvement. We do classroom guidance. Teachers will reach out and say, my class is really needing help with respect or kind words to others, and then we'll schedule something in their class. And we do a lot more of that this year with the addition of the 3rd counselor. We do a life skills class in the on the related arts rotation. So we do that for a couple of our teams. We do our terrace metric screening. So we're very thankful that our district has taking a step forward in really recognizing social and emotional well-being and the importance of it with our students. And so we are doing a universal screener to catch some of those things that our kids are dealing with that you might not know about. And we are picking up on some things we really didn't know about. Students were silently suffering with some pretty big things. So we're meeting the needs of that. Some of our school-wide programs, Red Ribbon Week. You can see some of our Red Ribbon poster contest winners there. Our Kindness Week, we had Be the Eye and Kind, and then we also had an appreciation station here. You can see the students were writing notes to peers, classmates, teachers. They utilize that during their lunch breaks. And College and Career Week is coming, it's this week, so Reality Fair is coming up tomorrow. So that's included in our College and Career Week. So if any of you are out and about and come to our school, you can come in the gym and check it out. So it's a lot of fun. And then International Day of Peace has already happened. That was back in the fall, and we definitely recognize that every day with our student body as well. No One Eats Alone was a new initiative this year. You can see the big cake in the top left corner there. That was just something that we did to try to promote inclusion, not excluding others, to reduce any type of bullying going on. So that was new, and I think it was a big success. We'll probably continue that next year as well. Some more collaborations that we do collaborate a lot with the 4-H Extension Office. They help us with our Reality Fair, and then a new program we did with them this year was Recipes for Life. The Reality Fair is focused more on our 6th graders, so the Recipes for Life was an opportunity for our 5th grade, and they all got to go to the Extension Office, and they got to make lots of recipes. You can see them here with some amazing community volunteers that helped them to create some pretty awesome recipes. So that was a fun day for them. We also do referrals to a lot of outside agencies. Some of our therapy agencies, Navista, NIAP, and Mountain Comp, we often do referrals for students needing more intensive services. And then, of course, we do DCBS referrals if students are being abused or neglected. And then we also have some family engagement events that we do. At Title I night, we had a lot of things set up for the families of the cards and different games that they can play. We taught them the importance of having game night together as a family and how that can really help with their interpersonal skills. And student advocacy specialists, which I already mentioned, we collaborate with them daily. So that's just an amazing opportunity for us to have that program. And then our Family Resource Center, which, as Mr. Mounts mentioned, I can't even speak enough on that. I could talk to you all night about Miss Casey Davis and all the things that she does in our program. And our school nurse, of course, I could talk about Miss Tia as well. She's all over the building all day long, and the students love her, and she's definitely a good support for them. And now I'll turn it back over to Ms. Ware.
All right. As Ms. Whiteside said, we could talk all day about Ms. Davis and our FRC Center, and I think we're over time, though, so I'm going to go real quickly. I'm a numbers person. I'm going to start out with a number. The number I'm going to start with is $300,000, and I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind. It's going to make sense to you when we're done with this. Did you know our school gives more than 90 food bags every week with our backpack program? So that's a number I want to stick with you. We had Big Smiles Dentistry come. I know they've come to a lot of the schools. The number that stuck out to me here was the 184 cavities filled. So those are kids who did not have dental care and now have gotten the cavities they need. When they first came, I thought they were just doing cleaning or those old school things we used to do where we'd put a red pill in our mouth and then brush. But no, they're literally in there filling cavities, which is amazing. Did you know that we partner with our, and by we I mean our FRCs, elementary, partner with UK, and they, once per month, provide activities for children in the community to make them kindergarten ready with crafts and games and songs and things like that. And we have over 2,000 hours of volunteering and mentoring hours this school year. Those are people who come in and eat lunch with our kids every week, people who come in and do small groups. We have some boys groups that meet with our local volunteers. We have some girls group who come in. I think they've done their nails, they've done arts and crafts. There's just done all kinds of really, really cool things. We have volunteers who come in and literally sit with 2 or 3 kids through math class the entire time, tutoring those kids one-on-one. So we have a great volunteer program. And none of this would be possible without Ms. Davis and our FRC. As Ms. Whiteside said, tomorrow is our reality fair. Our kids are going to get $200 pretend money, dollars and cents. I thought that was a misprint, but then I realized it's the cents. Make sense of the money. And they are going to go around through the reality fair, and they're going to purchase things. And then they're going to, as they do every year, run out of money and realize, I cannot buy that car. I do not have the money for it. I maybe need to go back and make some better choices so that I can eat. That's coming tomorrow with our volunteers. So, that number I started with, oh, I went way too far. Pretend that's not there now. That $300,000. I learned today that Ms. Davis is in charge of keeping track of what's called in-kind donations. So what that means is when volunteers come in, we get like a money amount assigned to that, and that's $30 per hour. So those dentists that come in and volunteer their time, the people who come in and cut hair, we've got that happening in the spring and in the fall. With the volunteers who come in and tutor those kids one-on-one or eat lunch with them, that's $30 an hour of man hours. That's time that they're performing for our school. Anytime we do donations and we get food or clothing, that's assigned a monetary amount. And our total in-kind donation for this year is just short of $300,000, and that is because of Casey Davis. Honestly, so, and the volunteers, of course. So that's just a little bit about our FRC. Anytime you come by the school, we'd love to show it to you. We're real proud of it. And now, what are we working
on? So we started off with some strengths in two areas that we were working on with our guidance and as well as our Family Resource Center, but we are working on a number of things always. We're always trying to improve with student achievement in all areas. Reading, math, science, social studies, related arts, and give the best instruction that we can. I'm very excited because we were with Kagan. It's something we had dabbled in. If you're not familiar with Kagan, Kagan's a guy. He's a Dr. Kagan, Dr. Spencer Kagan, but he developed I don't want to say group work, but cooperative learning, where kids work together, they develop social skills, and it's more interactive and engaging, and teachers learn these structures and strategies. And we had dabbled in it in the past, and fortunately, and I know you all are aware of this, but our district is going to train every teacher preschool through 12th grade, regardless of content area, in Kagan structures. And that really doesn't do it justice. You got to see Kagan in action, and that was something that we talked about. And we would train 2 or 3 people, and we'd come back and we'd try to train, the rest of the staff. And now every teacher is going to get at least 5 days of Kagan professional development over the course of the next school year. Co-teaching, I'd mentioned that as one of our strengths. It's time for a refresher with our teachers, and we had talked about those things. And it's great when your school's vision lines up with the district's vision. And the district, and this is a kudo to Ms. Fitton and Mr. Howard, when they unveiled that we were doing this, kind of took a lot of work off of ours, and it saved us a lot of money too. But we're pumped about Kagan and co-teaching. We're very excited about gifted and talented services being potentially expanded. Mental health of students is our second focus area. Cindy talked a lot about that. Developing and promoting a culture of kindness. A lot is put on schools. We're doing dental cleanings, we're cutting hair, we're trying to teach them reading, writing, arithmetic, and we're trying to teach them to be kind. And these things right here, this is my arch nemesis. I catch myself on it, and if Kara's watching at home, she knows I'm telling the truth. COVID did something, and it was working. It was working on us even before that. But just to develop social skills and social cues, and get kids talking to one another and treating each other with kindness, and knowing that their words have power and they have meaning. And we want those words to be good words and kind words. So we do a lot. And when I say we, Ms. Moore, our other assistant principal, Ms. Ware, our 3 counselors, our teachers, we're constantly working to develop those skills of our kids, to be kind, to be a good human being. So we do our part, and that is never ending, but it's something that we strive to work on day in and day out. PBIS, we do a lot of incentives, and we target specific behaviors. So we keep discipline data, and let's say we see a lot of bus referrals. We will target that behavior. So if it's getting out of your seat on the bus, we use that data to target and develop rewards and incentives for kids. And those are fun. We had a school-wide rock, paper, scissors tournament. We have had extra recess, you name it, and we're doing it. And then, of course, student and staff attendance, and this goes for both students and staff. In order to do a good job, you got to be at school. And that's whether you're a student sitting in a seat or you're a teacher up in front of 30 kids. You have to be present in our building. If we're going to get to where we need to be, you have to be in school, student and staff alike. And we have various unique incentives for both students and staff when it comes to attendance. We're currently doing a March Attendance Madness that we get on the morning news and we promote with our kids, and just kind of keep attendance in our students' mind always. So those are some of the things we're working on.
Thank you all. Any questions or?
I just have a comment that Baker is fabulous, and of course I'm a little biased because I come and I do volunteer, but I'm always welcome, always feel so welcome there. And the kids that go into the lunchroom, and me and Mr. Howard went one day, and the kids knew Mr. Howard, so obviously Mr. Howard been there too. So ever since my son was there, even before my son was there. So it's a great school, and I have been a community partner for many years too. But I think that it's you said earlier, 5th and 6th grades, it is a special time because they are still innocent, and it's still moldable, and you all do such a fine job, and you have a great team there. I appreciate all you do.
Thank you so much.
I love all the branding that you've done with the Bulldogs, and, I know Mr. Howard's always go cards,
Throw a bulldog in there, Mr.
Yeah, throw that in there. But just I think that's important as young children. They recognize and they belong. They're a Bulldog, and the branding you all do there is just incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, next up is Robert D. Campbell Junior High School update. Mr. Kincaid.
They're open today. I'm going to start off by saying, I was going to end with this, but I think it's more important that I start off with this, that I'm no Josh Mounts, and we're trying every day to be as good as Baker is. So I'm just going to start off by saying that. And I'm going to steal a few of their lines. They had 300,000. That's not near as impressive as 20 minutes and 59 seconds. But we were told 5 minutes to 10 minutes, so we tried to stick by that. So if we go over, I'm sorry. Jason Kincaid, first-year principal. I'd like to introduce Mr. Tom Swart, first-year assistant principal in 8th grade, and Miss Tiffany Smith, first-year principal in 7th grade. I say that for a reason, because we're all first year. This is our first go-around at anything that we do. It's our first time. So this is our first presentation to the board and to all the audience, so I guess I'll ask for some grace to start off with. I'm also in a unique position. Me and Ms. Smith have been in the building for several years. I've been there from pretty much when it started, coming halfway through the first year. And Ms. Smith's been 6, 7 years. Mr. Swartz new to our building, but we were lucky to be tutored and receive tutelage from an excellent ex-principal. The flip side of that is he's now the superintendent. So when you talk about changes and you talk about new stuff and new initiatives, I always feel like we're throwing shade at my current new boss. So anything that we say is not, back in the old days or under previous administration, I like to say that phrase. That's not
to use it a lot.
That's not to say that under previous administration, they didn't try their best and work really hard. We're just we've got a new vision, new administration here. So one of the first things that we did is we wanted to get some outside eyes. We thought it was a great time. We feel like we do, and when I applied for this position and interviewed and took it, I said all the time, we don't need major changes at RDC. We need tweaks. We need to get pre-COVID. We need to get back to some of the stuff that we were really doing great before COVID kicked us all in the gut, and we're still trying to come back from that. So we wanted to get some outside eyes, and Mr. Howard sent a thing back, I don't know, September, October. CKEC, one of the local co-ops that works with us, they had a thing called a CARS report, and I thought that sounds really cool, and it's comprehensive. If you'll go to the next slide, I always say this wrong. Comprehensive analysis, resources, and support. And so what it was you had, we had 5 evaluators, so 5 outside people, special ed, regular ed, gifted. They were a variety of people that came from CKEC. They came, did a meeting with us to begin with, talked about what it would look like, what this CARS report would do. Wanted us to get a group of kids, several groups of kids, several groups of teachers, and then they were going to come back and do this full day, sort of a giant observation of what our school was. So then they came in, spent an entire day, went to every classroom, met with, and I don't have numbers on it, again, we're new, we don't have as much numbers as Baker, met with a bunch of teachers, met with a bunch of students, had actual interviews, had some questions that they asked, and just to try to get a feel of what's going on in our school. They went back, we had a quick debrief that day, but then they came back about 3 weeks later and had a full-scale debrief. We had Ms. Fithen and Ms. Mann and a few other people from central office come out. We could have kept it in-house, I didn't know what they was going to say. I sort of had an idea what I thought they were going to say, but I didn't know. And we could have kept it in-house, but we wanted to invite central office. Again, we're trying to become one district. We've talked that in several meetings before, and when we talked that with Baker and some of the other schools, we're not embarrassed of what's going on. Again, Mr. Mounts mentioned 5th and 6th, it's a special, they're very innocent, and 7th and 8th is also very special. They're not as innocent and wonderful, and, if you've ever been to the middle school, I've got a 7th and 8th grader right now, so I can speak from experience as a parent, they're not super innocent and wonderful, and sometimes they're a little crazy, so we knew it was different, but we wanted to get that outside input, and we also wanted to have central office. If we're going to grow together. You can go to the next slide.
So here's a list of some of the strengths that the CARS team determined based on our building and interviews with teachers and students. We think RDC is a pretty great place to be, and we're blessed to be there, but it was even more revealing of how lucky we are to work with the teachers we work with and the people we learn from after we saw these results. So the one that stuck out most to us, based on student interviews, our students reported that they felt like behavior was improving. And we all know in junior high school, your social life and social activity supersedes any academics we're trying to teach them. And so knowing that our students see improvement in their time spent in our building in regard to behavior was really encouraging for us. So we're going to continue with that. Another thing that was super encouraging was our teachers. Interviews revealed that they thought the culture and relationships was the best thing about our building. So that was relationships with administration, other teachers, and students. So when you create a decent place to be, learning is easier for our students all around. So we're pretty proud of that.
And we've known since the beginning that that's vital in 7th and 8th grade. Again, not to harp on 7th and 8th graders, but they're an emotional bunch. Good, bad, high, low, it can change every day, every minute, every hour. So having that positive relationship between staff is vitally important, because when you're dealing with these kids that are up and down, we have to like each other, we have to get along, we have to have each other's back. And it's important to have that relationship with those kids, because you've got to know when I see Johnny coming in off the bus or coming in from his car, By the way, Johnny's crying this morning, you probably want to check on him. You know, we need to be able to see that and be able to wrap around them. And again, you're just building that relationship with those kids. It's vital.
And I think it's easy for us as people who are there every day and who know a lot of people who work there to get comfortable with their relationships. But knowing someone objectively came in and interviewed a diverse population of teachers and students and staff members, it's very encouraging what we've got going on there collectively.
I want to point out they tried to steal one of our MSD teachers and loved both classes, but tried to steal one of them. I had to almost throw the special ed part out of the meeting, but Ms. Whitaker and Ms. Mounts, I just want to throw out their names. They are fantastic. If you want to see what a great, wonderful MSD program is, come to our school and watch them at any time. If it's in the gym, in the classrooms, when they're serving coffee, whatever they're doing, it's wonderful stuff. So I want to throw that out there for them too. And congruence. As new administrators, we don't have all the lingo sometimes. Congruence is one that we've been exposed to a lot more, just seeing how it all ties together and seeing the importance of having a strong 5th and 6th grade that comes up to us, and then us being congruent and going to the high, we all feed to the high school. And that, if I haven't said that, that's one of the things that I try to preach all the time is our main goal is getting kids to the high school. Senior year is what we're working for. We've got 7th and 8th graders, but senior year is what we're working for. So having that congruence is important for us.
I guess I'll start with, when I was asked to present areas of improvement, I didn't even think a little bit that they were attacks on our current superintendent, so thanks for adding twinge of anxiety to the presentation. I really appreciate that. As we've attended, as we've attended our district's initiatives for leadership, a common talking point has been change, and not just change for the sake of change, but seeking out change just as a natural evolution of a school program, because there are a whole list of things that are going to change in a school district and a school building every single year, and if you're not a part of that, it's going to blow past you. So it was refreshing to join this team, because all three of us are people that don't have it all figured out and are okay with that and are willing to listen to our teachers, to parents, to district level staff, or whoever has a better idea. None of us are married to our ideas or our policies or our procedures. So saying that, after going through some of our data and our CARS visit was very helpful. Some of our areas of improvement, our consistency regarding components of effective lessons and units, and I'll kind of piggyback that with our PLCs. All three of us see the need for us to become more focused instructional leaders. Improving our PLC structures and how that is done is important to us. So, and kind of piggybacked with that is creating a walkthrough document, which we've done, and we're going to work to make that congruent.
And again, back to Mr. Moutzer, one of them said, it's great when the things that you're working on, the things that you're trying to improve on, work in great with central office, what we want to do as a district. I'd said we had a follow-up with the CKEC people in central office. We had planned to further follow up like a month later with central office staff of, okay, here's what we've been doing for the last month and a half. Here's what our plans are moving out and for next year. And we canceled that one because if we had 5 things on our list, 4 of them were initiatives that central office is not demanding top down, but that we're working on district-wide. So again, we've talked silo. I know Mr. Howard's mentioned silos in the past. I don't feel, as a brand new administrator in this district, who's been in this district and has seen those silos, I don't feel that at all. I can shoot a text to Mr. Mounts or to Mr. Keene or to elementaries. We don't deal as much with the elementaries because they feel a little farther away from us. But Mounts and Mr. Keene, we can collaborate. We can say, hey, what are you doing on this? What are we talking about this? How are you doing? And it seems so organic and natural. And it's just been very quickly to happen like that.
Some of the other things we're focusing on for the coming year are supporting our ELL students. Walk through any building in this district, and you will find a large number of students that do not speak English. And we are struggling just because of the increasing population to keep up with the resources. And so that is a focus for us, and we do have a planned funding for an ELL teacher in our building, which again, walk in any building around here and you will see the need for that. We are focusing on our use of intervention time. We have already put together a new schedule for the coming year in which we provided more time for interventions, and there is also an element of that is on us to be more deliberate about making sure that that intervention time is initiated and maintained. So again, lots of things for us to work on, and it's important that we focus on a few and continue to work towards improving any way we can.
And these on the left were specific things that the CARS visit gave us. And these are the right, the things that we're thinking of, the things that we're working with central office and with the other schools of moving forwards with. Some student accomplishments. We've got a ton. We won the list a bunch, but I thought it would be better just to stick up some pictures here. FFA at their state competition at Kentucky State. It was a great time. I got to hang out with these. One thing I've started doing as a new principal is take some field trips. It makes it extremely difficult to be out of the building. I'm blessed to have two wonderful assistants. As an assistant, I never wanted to be out of the building because it made me nervous. What's going to happen at lunch? I'm supposed to be covering lunch. What's going to happen if somebody gets in a fight? And I've quickly, this year, that worry doesn't bother me. I know these guys have it. Now, a lot of crazy stuff happens, and sometimes they still call me. They're like, what do we do here? And I'm like, we'll talk about it and let's roll with it. But I've been blessed, that, especially this spring semester, to start taking some trips. So I got to go with FFA. Again, not to throw out Josh Mounts, but he's a Facebook fantastic, wonderful, top, whatever level. I'm trying. I just started posting to Facebook this year. So if you see any mess ups on Facebook or tips and would like to tutor me, come by and we'll set and you can tutor me. But FFA at state competition, this is, not orchestra, this is choir at their KMEA. This is our family fun night. This is a wonderful, our SOS organization put on a family fun night, family game night, where they came in and we had some Winchester police there talking to the parents about cyberbullying and stuff. And then the kids were in the cafeteria doing Minute to Win It games. And it was a great night there. This is, again, we are at an age where real world is important. School's not as cool anymore when you get to middle school, junior high level. So the more we can show these kids, hey, I can actually learn some science and I might tag some sheep. Or just the other day, they were using ultrasound machine on the sheep and checking for, I really don't know what they were checking for. They're using the ultrasound machine. No, sonograph, sorry. This is our Amazing Shake. If you've not, and a lot of you all have been involved in Amazing Shake, I think we have plans to make Amazing Shake. We're hoping to expand. Yes, maybe. Amazing Shake out more. If you've never been part of Amazing Shake, it is a wonderful experience. Again, it is very important if a 7th grader learns math. It's very important if an 8th grader knows social studies. But it's much more important if I can come up and shake your hand and introduce myself and speak to you as an adult and as a professional. If we don't teach that to these kids, we've missed the boat. They'll learn that 7th grade social studies sometime else, I guarantee. But if we can get them as respectable, semi-decent citizens when they leave out of 8th grade, they'll do fantastic things when they get to high school. These are our three. They just came back last week. They went last weekend to Atlanta to the National Amazing Shake Competition. 3 of, I think, 340. I want to make sure I get this right. 2 of them were top 30 and 1 of them was top 50. I think the 2 girls were top 30 and Wyatt Jackson was top 50. And it's an impressive, I would love for everybody in here to be involved with it next year. We need people. This one is our band took a trip to Moorhead to work with the Moorhead band. They just got back. I went on the first day. I went on with concert band and got to go to EKU with them. They got all distinguished. It was impressive. Symphonic band went back the second day. I couldn't work that out, but they got all distinguished. Don't think we have a picture of orchestra, but orchestra got all distinguished. You know that. And our choir got all distinguished the other day. It was unreal. Wrestling. As a parent, I sign all my emails, principal and parents. I have a kid. I probably should have put one of his pictures on it. He's part of the wrestling team. He got fourth in a state competition. I probably should have put that. He'll be mad if he knows that. But last year was the first year for the wrestling team, and we were partnered just with, we had kids that wrestled for the high school. This year we have now true clubs. It's club right now. Driving here, my coach was actually, the high school coach was actually asking me, hey, can we get a middle school coach next year? How does that work? I said, well, I'm going to the board tonight. Maybe I'll ask for a stipend for a middle school coach. But in 2 years, last year, I think we had 17 kids, about 17. Jones was on there too. That's what I'm looking at. About 17. And that was about 10 high school kids and 7 middle school kids, junior high. This year, there was about 40 on there between the high school and the junior high, and there's even a smaller group of Baker and lower kids, and there's about 35 on that. So wrestling, we've hosted wrestling the last few years for the state competition. It is growing rapidly in our community. We sent our first state qualifiers to the state competition this year, and he got second, sixth, and then my son got a fourth place finish. If you've ever been to a state competition for wrestling, it's an all-day. We were at the Corbin Arena, and there was 20 mats going on at all times from about 9:30 to about 7 o'clock at night. So if you've got a full day you want to go waste, you go to a wrestling competition. Bring a book bag and lots of food and drinks, and it's a long time. This right here is pictures of the GRC basketball. Sorry, I got emotional on this, and I said I wasn't going to. I know, I'm sorry. It's official. I cried every meeting I ever go to. So why not my first official board meeting? I'm good with it though. I thought this was wonderful. We just stuck those on there because it's not just GRC girls. It's not just GRC boys basketball. It's our entire community. It's our kids that play in the band. It's our kids that are playing on those ball teams. It's our parents. It's our bus drivers. I still talk, some of the bus drivers when we're standing on the bus ramp, still talk about how great it was. So I think if we're becoming one community, one vision, one whatever our thing says, this is where it starts right there. So I thought that was wonderful. Sorry, I started rambling a little bit too much with pictures there. I hope we're finished. No, we've got a bunch more. No, we're going to quickly, because I don't want to make fun of Josh Mounts' group for talking too long and then me ramble. I got 2 minutes to quickly talk about some things that are in 7th and 8th grade bullying. We hear bullying all the time. I assure you we do not let rampant bullying occur at RDC. Do we have kids that are mean? Heck, very much so. They're 7th and 8th graders. They get real nasty real quick. And we've already mentioned this. If they own one of these, they're real nasty real quick, and they can do it at all times, 24 hours a day. We don't know. So intentionality is a big word for me. And we've talked bullying for years, and we've talked what do we do, what does the district do, all that kind of stuff. So just real quick, Ms. Smith's going to talk about bullying, and then how we're going to try to address some of this stuff next year. Intentionally.
We'll skip straight to the list address.
You don't need to look at all that. You can read it if you want, but it's not. It's just our policy.
The next couple slides talk about cyberbullying, so teaching students the difference between that. That was important at the beginning of the year. And then the next slide is our process. So this is how we handle behavior incidents that involve bullying. So this was also shared with parents and students toward the beginning of the year through Mr. Kincaid's Friday emails he sends. They're wonderful. And so one of the initiatives we've been working on for next year on the next slide is our revised handbook. Our handbook was one of the most comprehensive handbooks I think I may have ever seen in my life.
57 pages or something ridiculous.
Everything, and that is so wonderful. Making sure everything's included is wonderful, but we've recognized through feedback from our parents and our teachers and our counselors, we need to work on a more functional and usable handbook. So up here are some of the highlighted things that we plan on having intentional, explicit instruction on during the first 9 weeks of next year through literacy rotations. So our students are actually going to be taught what our policies say and taught what they mean and taught about how we handle them. I think as wonderful and as comprehensive as our handbook is, one element that we have lacked is the intentional, explicit instruction of what we expect students to do and how we expect students to treat one another.
And unfortunately, how they're going to be punished if they don't follow through.
Yeah. So that's something that we're working on for next year. We hope that this, by teaching it to our students, by releasing a parent-friendly handbook that has verbiage that's easily understood and has the top things that we deal with on a daily basis, like functional things highlighted for them, it will help with our transparency. At the junior high level, it's very different. Communication styles become different. And hopefully by teaching our students this, and then hopefully having opportunities to teach our parents what we're doing and having a family-friendly handbook, that will definitely help with transparency and let parents get to know us better as a school and feel more comfortable coming to us when they have concerns.
All right.
Stop it. Stop the
Well,
timer.
thank you. I will say this. I know that both you all went over time, but that's fine because the emotion and the desire that you all have for the kids, it comes out. And thank you all for your presentation. So,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Okay, next up is Student Support Services. Consider approval of the proposed contractual agreement between Clark County Public Schools and Enterprise Fleet Management for meeting the vehicle resource fleet management needs of the district. Mr. Stump and Mr. Watkins.
All right, I'm gonna be real short. I've got a couple ladies with us tonight from Enterprise, Catherine Blazer and Taylor Messick, and I'm going to turn it over to them. Mr. Stump reached out to them. We have an aging maintenance fleet, and we were looking at creative ideas to be able to update our fleet and have because if not, we're going to need to purchase some vehicles, pretty soon. So I think their presentation will be very interesting to you all, and we're going to ask that you consider that.
We don't really have any good pictures or anything, so buckle up. I'll just start, just real quickly, just to introduce myself. My name is Catherine Blazer. I've been with Enterprise for 23 years this June. I'm from this area. I went to EKU, so, and I've been with Enterprise working on the fleet division for 16 years. And I'll let Taylor introduce herself.
Yeah, my name's Taylor Messick, and we'll kind of get into our roles a little bit differently. But I'm a client strategy manager, but I'm from Louisville, but I went to UK. I've been with the company for 8 years. I did a stint in rental for about 5 years and been with Fleet for a little over 3 years now. So I don't know if you want to discuss my role or anything.
No. So I think what we want to do is just kind of go through some data, just to kind of highlight what the current situation is, and then also talk to you about how we plan to implement our fleet program if possible. So this is what Enterprise does. I love that it's a full circle. We do everything fleet related, so we'd be working with the school district to help them acquire vehicles, help them track maintenance, help them track fuel. Probably the biggest value that we see is an opportunity to help you all sell vehicles. Something the school district hasn't really taken advantage of is its resale. You all buy vehicles extremely well. You don't really drive too far. I work with a lot of contractors that do 30,000 miles a year. You guys do about 8,000 miles a year. So we're going to tap into your buying power, and then we want to help you sell the vehicles when they have a lot of life left in them. The biggest benefit is that there's not going to be as much maintenance costs, as much fuel costs, as much downtime. We'll go through just a few statistics, but safety also becomes a factor as well. I just put up here some references. This list is growing. You can see we've got quite a few school districts that we work with. And then we've got some partnerships as well, including Sourcewell, E&I. Those are government cooperatives that we have partnerships with as well. And then everybody likes to do business with people we know and friends that we have in common. So these are just some companies that we work with in the area. They partner with us, and they have decided to outsource their fleet to us. And of course, that is what we're asking of the school board as well. So here's some statistics. I don't know if you all can see that pretty well depending on the screen. So One of the biggest things that stands out to me is obviously how many vehicles we have sitting in that 10, 20-year range. We've got 20 vehicles that are 10 years old or older. In fact, 70% of the fleet right now is older than 10 years old. I think Donald and Billy could probably attest to that, the way that feels. 87% of the fleet is older than 5 years old. And then the stuff in red is just some safety statistics. So to me, it's a big deal. 63% of the vehicles on the road today don't have electronic stability control. That is a very, very important safety feature. That was mandated in 2012. And then 30% of the vehicles don't have tire pressure monitoring. So this is just a high-level overview. This is the overview of the mileage. As you can see, we've got a lot of vehicles that are over 100,000 miles. Any vehicle that's older than 100,000 miles, maintenance, downtime, and safety becomes a factor. So our secret recipe, our secret sauce is to help you all figure out when these lines cross. I will tell you all that you all are in the driver's seat. It's kind of like a financial analysis or a financial partner. You're in the driver's seat. They can give you recommendations, advice, tell you what to do, but ultimately you all make the decision of what you want to do. We can just bring that information to the table. And one of the biggest pieces that we see is that running vehicles until they die is actually costing the school board money rather than saving you all money. So I'll just show you the analysis that we presented to your committee and to the finance team. And again, this is all in the board synopsis that hopefully you all had time to look through. But 21 vehicles are our core focus. The school district is on a 14-year replacement plan currently, which is a pretty long time to hold on to a vehicle. Maintenance. We are currently incurring about $171 on average per month per vehicle. And then your average vehicle is only getting about 9 miles to the gallon. That's just because your fleet's aged and it's not as fuel efficient as some new vehicles. What we'd like to do, by the way, is transition the school district to a 5-year replacement plan. Again, you all don't have to do that, but that's just our recommendation and that's what this analysis is based on. This orange line indicates what the school district is currently spending running this aged fleet. It's about $232,000. So my goal is to work with these dollars, refresh the fleet, and have you spend less than what you're spending today. So in the first year, we'd like to start with replacing 6 vehicles. I've worked with Billy and Donald to help pick the vehicles that they feel have the biggest needs, biggest area of opportunity to replace. 6 vehicles we'd start with. We would recommend that you put these on what's called an open-ended lease, not like a typical lease. It's a finance to a balance. That's $60,000. We would sell 6 vehicles for you. You've got 6 vehicles we'd help you sell for you. But look at your maintenance cost. In the first year, your maintenance cost is going to drop to $33,000. Fuel's going to get a little bit better. And in the first year, you're going to get 6 vehicles for $140,000, saving the school district almost $90,000. Year 2, we're recommending we do 3 vehicles. It's going to cost you $90,000 because you've got the 6 other ones. But then we're going to sell some vehicles for you as well. Your maintenance cost drops, fuel gets better, and then we're still under budget. And so what we did, again, this is a lot of numbers, but financially, this has to make sense. Operationally, I think everybody likes the idea of having newer vehicles, but truly it's a product of buying the vehicles the right way, selling them at the right time. But you can see the school district's maintenance cost is going to go from $43,000 down to $9,000. And that's because we're running a refreshed fleet where we're cycling through it every 5 years. So here's what's really exciting to me is that number one, we've got a 10-year plan. And we can deviate from this plan depending on growth or what happens in the economy, but we're projecting to save the school district $650,000 through this partnership. So we just wanted to be here today to be the face of this. Taylor would actually be the person assigned to work with the school district, meeting with you guys on a regular basis, making recommendations, pointing out things, helping Alicia and her team track maintenance cost, track fuel cost, where we can really dial in and tell you what every vehicle is costing you to operate. I always say you can't cut if you can't measure. So the first thing we want to do is we want to start measuring where are dollars being spent. Then we can start making cuts as we go. So I'm open if anybody has any questions. I can address any questions that you all may have. Happy to do that.
I'll just make a couple of comments. So I sat on the committee that you presented, and Alicia was there as well. So first of all, thank you all for being here tonight. Appreciate it. One of the things that came out of that meeting was we have no insight to our fleet today. I mean, it's just basically, if it breaks, then we'll address it. And this way, it not only saves us money in the long term, it does also provide us insight on the vehicle itself. So I asked Alicia if this made financial sense. Obviously, it does to me, but how would this help track maintenance costs, fuel costs? And we wanted to bring this to the board and get y'all's thoughts and be able to ask questions as well. So I'll open it up. Anyone have questions?
I'm pretty comfortable with it. My company uses it too. They make things a little bit easier. Sometimes the maintenance can be. That's what I would ask. How would we differentiate between where the maintenance could be completed, or would that be something that we would have to do in-house, or our?
Yep. So what's really nice about our all the programs that we have is that we want to keep business as local as possible. So you can utilize local repair shops to get maintenance done. But behind the scenes, we'll be working with these folks in this department to send them alerts. Hey, this vehicle's due for an oil change. Hey, this vehicle's past due for an oil change. Or an alert, hey, this vehicle hasn't had a tire rotation and it's been X amount of time in miles. But you can utilize local repair shops. We don't have an enterprise repair shop, so to speak. So you would just be responsible to take those vehicles in and get them maintained. But hopefully you just be doing oil changes at some point, right?
Well, we utilize you guys for my professional company, Geotechnology, and we do a lot of that, and we're pretty free with where we can go, but there are some places that we can't, go to, or you always still have to be aware that, like, who does what type of work. You don't get that type of insight into who the best mechanics are, who does the best work. You can still take your fleet vehicle to a place and they can still mess it up. And then it can still cost you a lot more money. So, it works great for us. So, and I think it makes sense for us.
And we do keep our maintenance shops on a standard, so if we do hear of instances like that, they will get removed from the program. So there is a checks and balances system behind it.
Yeah. Okay. We've always had great.
Good feedback.
Yeah.
Well, I looked through it and then I asked you some questions the other day, so I'm comfortable. I don't have any questions.
Ms. Ritchie?
I'm good.
You good? Do we have, I'll open it up for a motion then.
Was there an actual contract that was submitted? I just saw the proposed kind of stuff that was uploaded, like your slideshow.
Yeah, so the contracts that we have in place are through Sourcewell, which is our government buying cooperative, and I believe you all are members of Sourcewell, which we've done the competitive bid process with them, but you all would have your own agreements, but they've been approved through the bid process.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're good?
Yeah, I haven't personally seen those agreements, but so maybe just make it contingent on.
Contingent on reviewing the, okay.
I don't know, we can make any amendments that when you're going through it, if there's some wording that needs to be amended, we can do that for you guys.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the proposed contractual agreement between Clark County Public Schools and Enterprise Fleet Management pending review of board attorney.
Second.
And second by Ms. Ritchie. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
So did we win? The
The time?
schedule?
It was a lot quicker. Yeah.
Thank you all
I
very
think
much.
it's going to be great for the great for the district. long
Yes,
term.
we're really excited, so thank you all. Thank you for this time, too.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies. How'd Mom do? She do okay?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, all right. We're a spectator, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. All right, next up on the list, consider approval for the board to set the last day of school and a date for the 2023 GRC graduation ceremony. Ms. Bush.
In following with the KRS and praying that Mother Nature will support us in the next couple months, we are at the point where we need to look at the calendar that you have approved from August or past or before August last year. So that's what you have in your packet is the original. We need to consider our amended calendar that you have in your packet, and it adds an illness day on November the 4th, and then our wonderful community event on that ball game on 3/10. So if you'll look at the amended calendar, that makes our last day for students pushed to the 25th. Closing day for staff is Friday the 26th, and we're proposing that you approve graduation night would be that Friday. Mr. King cannot be here tonight, but we have been in conversation, Mr. Watkins and Mr. Howard, with him about that graduation date, and he is okay with that. So at this time, if you approve this, will be our first amendment, and we don't have to finalize the official to KDE until June, but this will be, if everything works out, our last amendment, we hope.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Sounds like a really great plan to me.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Hall,
Second.
second by Ms. Ritchie. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0.
Thank you. I win brevity.
I like how brevity is not happening.
That was May 26th, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. We approved the amended calendar. All right, next on the list, consider approval of bid package for Robert D. Campbell Gymnasium bleacher replacement project. Mr. Stone.
In response to the board's previous directive to rebid the Campbell bleacher project, we did so and received 3 bids, which is in your packet as far as the bid tabulation sheet. We have Atlas rebid again for $170,000. I'm sorry, $270,000. And you can see the other 2 bids there from Toadvine and Intel. So the architects have reviewed all of the bids. All of them have completed all of the requirements of the package, and they are recommending that there's no reason why that you should not consider the low bid, and that's from Toadvine at $227,000.
You only see 2 bids in the package.
Well, one was from Michigan, and they didn't include that bid because they weren't familiar with the company. So,
Okay.
and that was the mid bid. I think that was $243,000 if I recall correctly.
Is Toadvine who did the Baker bleachers?
I thought Atlas did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Atlas did the Baker bleachers, and Atlas did GRC bleachers, and they used Hussey products, whereas Toadvine uses Intercal products.
This is the one we bid back out because we didn't have enough information.
Right.
We only had the 1 bid,
We
and
only had the 1 bid.
so it's a different product.
It's a different bleacher product, that's correct. Now, Toadvine does all of our has been doing our bleacher inspections for the past 8 or 10 years, but they haven't installed any bleachers for us.
So with Campbell's, since it's an older building, would that make any difference on which product we'd use?
We're using a lot of product at Campbell. They have 2 sets of bleachers. One of them is 600 student
Right.
or seating capacity, the other is 650.
Right.
It's much larger than what we did at Baker. Was that the nature of your question?
Well, I guess my question, because the building's much older than Baker, would that make any difference which product we need to use?
No, it would not have any effect at all on which product you chose. Actually, both products are very reputable. Both companies are very reputable. It would just be to the board's discretion. You know, you've done business with Atlas in the past. We've seen their product in our schools, but they're $43,000 more than Toadvine's bid.
Have you seen the product? Are you comfortable with the product?
I'm comfortable with Toadvine's product, and other directors in other districts who have done business with Toadvine are comfortable as well.
Hey, Donald, can I add a comment?
Sure.
Intercal is the manufacturer of the bleachers that are currently at Campbell.
Right.
So they're older, obviously, but Intercal is the same manufacturer that's currently at King. So it would be the same manufacturer that's there now.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
How long ago did we replace them at Campbell before this? But have the current ones been replaced in?
I think the current ones are original to the building, I'm almost going to say.
They've been
No?
replaced once, but it's been decades ago, literally.
More than 2 decades.
Okay, gotcha.
Has it been replaced since you've been here?
No, no, no. That would have been 3 decades.
Do we have any legal ramifications for, because we opened the bid back up because we didn't have enough bids. But Atlas, they're the ones that bid it the first time, and if the board decides to go a different direction,
Not that I'm aware of, if you went through the proper bid procedures.
That would be my understanding as well.
okay. Any more questions, or do we have a motion?
Well, if you decide to go with Toadvine, the low bid, I would ask that you make a motion to approve a contractual agreement with Toadvine Enterprises, and also note the revised BG1 that's required that would reflect the actual contractual price and the adjustments to the soft costs associated with that price too. So in effect, if you could put in the motion the revised BG1 as well, acknowledge that we'd have to revise that BG1 along with that contractual agreement for the construction of those bleachers.
Would we need KDE approval?
Yes, sir, you would need pending KDE approval.
Pending KDE.
I'll make that motion, what Donald just said. That work, Donald?
That works.
Is that, you got that? Yes. Okay. All right, we got a motion by Ms. Ritchie, we have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Hall, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next item is consider approval of bid package for Strode Station Gym Floor Replacement Project in the amount of $95,955.
Okay, per board's directive, we did bid that project out as well. Worked with Rostron Architects to work on the drawings, the designs, put that out to bid. We received one bid for that project for $95,000 from Cincinnati Flooring out of Ohio. And would just ask the board's direction as to whether you wanted to consider that bid or whether you wanted to rebid, or what your directive was with that, because we did receive only one bid for that. We did receive a second bid that was late from a company, Southern.
Yeah, but they weren't legitimate. The product they were trying to propose was not listed in the specifications.
So it didn't meet the specs
All
requirements.
manufacturers be listed in the specifications. We did receive the one bid from Cincinnati Floor. It was below the cost estimate that was included on the previous BG1. So we feel like it's a good price. It's just a matter that the board wishes to move forward with that project or not.
And BG1 reflected $115,000. The bid came in at $95,000, so it was $20,000 below what your BG1 estimated.
So will that BG1 need to be revised as well?
It would, yes, it'd be the same motion that we just,
And pending KDE?
yes, that's correct.
Have we have any references for Cincinnati Floor, that they reputable company?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've done quite a bit of work with them. They're one of basically 3 wood flooring installers in the state of Kentucky, and we've done previous work with them, so they're a good company.
Yeah, pretty reputable.
The other 2 companies are the Larry Martin and Larry Conrad, and neither, they were both too busy to bid the project. So,
Gotcha.
Nice problem to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's probably not gonna change, so
No.
I'm good with it.
Any comments? I'll make a motion to approve bid package for Strode Station Gym Floor Replacement Project in the amount of $95,955 with the revised BG1 pending KDE approval
If you could just mention the contractual agreement with Cincinnati Flooring.
with the contractual agreement with Cincinnati Flooring.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. All right.
Okay, is that-
Thank you. Next up is Finance and Human Resource Update. Acknowledgement of the monthly Clark County Public Schools financial update. Ms. Ellis.
Good evening, everyone. So for this month, we're reviewing February's statements and data, and we are I feel like it's kind of a repetitive thing every month, but we're really kind of where we have been in the past. We're actually 3% more collection of revenues this year than compared to last year. So that's fantastic news. We're down 1% in our spending, so we're still kind of really spot on at this time of year for spending. We are right at 98% collections of our property taxes when you're looking at February, but we already have collected the check that will be reported next month, so we are right at 99% collection. For our taxes, we are our property and franchise taxes, we're 73% for our motor vehicle, but again, you can see the comparisons of last year. We're up percentage-wise tax collections from last year, so that's, again, fantastic news. We just had the discussion item of our enterprise fleet and past that. I think that's going to be great for our budgeting process going forward because we don't have a very good budgeting process as is right now. It's just kind of a pop-up, hey, we need to replace a vehicle.
We need 7 vehicles this year.
So this will help tremendously. So thank you all for approving that because that has always been kind of a budget concern on our budget. So we'll have a more streamlined process for that now. We're going to talk about here in a minute our final wage study. And then just to bring your attention to the consent items for when you get to them, standard Booster Club agreements, fundraisers, but also on there we have our second KETS offer for the year. And we need to update some language on our booster agreement that we approved a few months ago. When we sent it back to KSBA, they tweaked a piece in it. We had unfortunately gotten out of compliance with Red Book in trying to update some of that, and I just missed that. So we're bringing that back to fix that small language and be in compliance. And so that is the major finance updates for this month. Any questions?
So while you're up there, I was gonna pull these consent items off, and
Yeah.
then we can just go ahead and address these.
Absolutely.
So that, we can just leave them on, but the consent item for, approval of change order number 1, performance services, phase 2 guaranteed energy savings for 1.4 million.
Yes.
Let's just discuss that, so
Yeah, absolutely.
the public knows what that is.
So originally, when we contracted with PSI for that project, the entire construction project was done under PSI, the company. But we get a discount, no sales tax paid, if we buy the equipment direct purchase. So the change order for the 1.4 million is literally taking it out of their name in the construction system that we're going to pay PSI 1.4. Well, we're saying we're not going to pay them pay PSI that now. We're going to pay direct to like Simco and other vendors where we're buying the purchase equipment directly to get that sales tax advantage. Otherwise, it would be marked up for them buying it. We got the cheaper price being through our co-ops and that type of stuff. So that's basically what that, it's a schematics. We've got to make sure that in fact pack to close out the project because we're done with the project. We spent all the money. It's closed out on our books essentially, money-wise. Like we're just hanging out trying to get all the paperwork done in fact pack, which is kind of a process.
Yeah, the project's done, board
Project's
approved it. We're
done,
just-
board
we're just
approved.
changing-
Every single pay app that we have paid on that has come before you
Yeah.
for approval. Yes, sir.
I just wanted, it was a large dollar amount, so I wanted to make sure everyone knew what that was. Yep. We good on, okay. Okay, next up is, no more questions. We'll have, consider authorization of payment and salaries and accounts payable. Any questions, anything on accounts payable anyone want to discuss? Have a motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Ms. Ritchie makes motion.
I will second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. And next up is staff retention and recruitment. Consider approval of wage study proposal and salary table change for the building support positions. Ms. Ellis.
So this wage study will wrap up all of our hourly classified positions. And basically, we have, at this point, done a study on our maintenance crew and our custodians. So our building support pay scale is what we want to revise this to. And you can see the proposed salary pay schedule that has been presented, and then also the backup of comparing to those districts. So we did find, in looking at, we have currently in our district 3 maintenance positions, a maintenance tech 1, 2, and 3. And in looking at those, we are actually above and beyond all of the wage studies. So that's fantastic news in that area for us. We are competitive when it comes to our maintenance salaries. We are recommending that maintenance 1 and 2, it was, you can see, starting 1850 for us, and the study is actually 1603. So we're actually recommending that we pull that back down closer to the average for maintenance 1, and same thing with maintenance 2. We were at a little over $20, and the study was at $18. Maintenance 3, we're actually recommending that we stay at our current scale for the simplistic factor of that position requires those licensures, those HVAC and your plumbing and your electric, and that is very extensive, very specialized positions that we want to make sure we have that highly qualified person in that role, so we want to keep that scale very competitive. So anyone who's currently a maintenance tech 1 or 2 is grandfathered in at the current scale that we have. They will not lose pay. This is only for newly hired, would come in at the new pay, and this is what we've done on every single wage study that has been presented to you, is trying to match that wage study line to stay competitive with our other counties. So that is your maintenance folks, your grounds workers, and we have a grounds monitor that, again, you can see those numbers. I'm not going to read them off to you, but we were pretty close in the comparison there, so we tweaked the scale just a little bit to match the study. And then our custodians, we did find that is an area that we were very much under the scale of what the average was of our comparable districts, and so we are recommending some increases when it comes to our custodians. And we're asking for a shift premium for custodians that clock in at 3 p.m. and after and work the weekends, and that's a lot to do with our new athletic complex. We have custodians that we need to help service that, and so we feel like working those hours, it's hard to find someone that will work that all the time. And so it's kind of been suggested that we might kind of float that position around in the different positions, and when they work that, they would get that dollar shift premium above the custodian scale.
Add a differential.
And then our lead custodian, we are suggesting a new pay scale for that, and we're suggesting based on the number of custodians that they supervise and the square footage that they have to also manage, that basically the buildings get larger, so Baker, RDC, GRC would get an additional amount added to the scale that is built for the lead custodian based on that. Are there any questions?
So with all the changes, what's the net?
So this is going to cost on our budget approximately $173,000 additional. And the bulk of that is our custodial staff.
It could actually, if we hire new people on the first, it could actually
go down because you'd have less experienced people.
Yeah,
So this 173 is based on your current staffing of getting this raise. But you are correct. If staff turnover, you might hire someone who's lesser years of experience, which would cause a decrease in the budget.
And you feel comfortable this is sustainable?
Yes, sir.
Any question? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, let's see, to approve the wage study proposal, or the salary table change for the building support positions.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Dorsey. We have a second. Second by Ms. Ritchie. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Ellis. All right, internal board business. Consider issuing RFP for athletic training services. I believe this came up, it's got my name on it, but I think Ms. Ritchie brought it to my attention. The contract that we have today is going to be expiring later this year in June. So we wanted to see if it was appropriate time to maybe start working on an RFP for that. I would like to add that the services that we've had today seems to be going very well. I'd like to get input from the stakeholders, so to speak, on how that is as well. Not now, just, when the RFPs sure come out. So, I think the last, was it a 5-year contract? I believe it was a 5-year contract that we had. 5 year, okay. So I believe it's probably the appropriate time to start issuing that and looking at that. And we also, what I'd also recommend is getting input from the stakeholders to see when we do put the RFP out, is there anything additional that the existing one is lacking that needs to be included? Because just from previous experience before I got on board, I know our athletic trainers are very scarce when it comes across all of our athletics. So I'd like to make sure that in the new one, if there is a gap of coverage, that somehow we can maybe look at getting that addressed.
Okay.
Does that sound all right?
Yep.
Any comments?
No.
Well, I'll make a motion to issue an RFP for athletics training services.
Second.
And second by Ms. Ritchie. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next item is consider appointment of board members to district committee for 2023. I think all the board members, I don't know if everyone got an opportunity to take a look at
Still don't have
the
Billy
listings.
though.
I'm sorry?
We don't have Billy here.
No, that's true. Let's take a look at this real quick. No, thank you. It's on my desk. Everyone should have a hard copy. Thank you.
There's two on the back too. Just
Oh.
second paper.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to assign anything to, or a board member that's not here tonight, but is there anyone that's here would like to volunteer for any of these? I'll volunteer for the finance committee. And I'm already.
Title that HR invites.
Yeah, I know that it's going to be revamped, so I'll just look for information coming from you.
So you're on that one.
Yeah, so on the ATC and finance, Ms. Hall's already in the Partners of Education Committee, or on the Partners of Education Committee.
I think I already attend this MAP thing, the health department, so it's like during the day. I don't mind to do that.
Okay.
It's kind of what I do for a living, so.
You're on the what?
It's the health status
Health
committee with the
status.
MAP.
Oh, okay. On the district wellness committee, I was on it last year and we never got to meet, so.
Okay.
Or maybe
Got,
they did, and I just
you
didn't.
got calendar committee. You was on the calendar, you was on the calendar, who was on the calendar committee? Dora.
Wasn't you? Didn't you take that?
I did. I am not feeling anyone can be on that.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. Because I was thinking I might want to, since my son's at the high school, I was thinking I might want to do the college and career ready committee because I'm already at DRC a lot. So,
Okay,
I'll just take the calendar committee.
okay. Okay.
Ben took the calendar.
Facility district and spirit.
So we've got,
Who's on?
we've got Community Education Advisory Council and Strategic Planning Committee, and remember, we've got one board member that,
That's in here.
yeah, so if you want to take two committees, and we'll just assign him the other. If it doesn't work out, we might have to switch.
I might note too that Mrs. Ritchie is the chair of the District Facility Planning Committee.
Thank you, Donald.
Is the Facility Planning Committee on here?
No, but I have that one. I was sitting here like, dang, I know I'm stay a lot busier than what this looks.
We need to add the Facility Committee on there.
Good
Is it
looking
still
out, Donald.
meeting?
Yes, it's on this agenda. Getting ready to reconvene, isn't it?
No.
No, maybe that was the other old
It's
agenda.
on this agenda.
It is?
It's under consent,
Oh, it's under consent.
because
Okay,
it's just to reconvene it.
okay. All right.
So that means you get the
Do you
second.
want, do you want to be on, do you want to stay on the facility?
I have to sell it.
Oh, because you're the chair.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to, once you're on it, unless you stay for so much time.
Okay.
It's,
But yes, I'll stay anyway. I like it.
community education.
Okay. Mr. Dorsey's on community education.
You ain't gonna be, don't that one meet during the day?
If it needs to, yeah, see,
You're
that's
not
what I was
gonna be
looking
able
for.
to
do that. Oh, does
it? Because neither of the other two have a day for town, so I don't really know.
Yeah, see, I
All
know
right,
that's
let's
what
move
I
to
have to do
nighttime.
your crap. during
Let's
the
leave
day.
those two blank.
I mean,
for
as long
now.
as I know about it ahead of time, I'm
Let's leave those two blank for now.
What you do?
The Community Education Advisory Council and the Strategic Planning Committee.
good. District wellness, is that door?
District Wellness is.
Me.
Ms.
Oh,
Ritchie.
okay.
I usually stick with Christy. Christy takes care of me.
The other two meet during the day. So we'll have to figure out how to cover those. And then, we need to get with the other board member to determine if they can pick up any of these. If not, we'll maybe do some switching. So this, let's just say this is tentative right now.
Does it have to be the same board member on the, because I mean, community ed, we might have to switch alternates.
What do you mean?
I don't know that any of us right now can just, because they meet once a month.
Community Education Advisory Council?
So no, the one that's meeting now is the Equity Council, and it's not a board committee, although they've asked a board member to come to their meetings. So that's a different one that is meeting once a month. They're gonna give us an update.
Okay.
This is run through just community ed, what services, supports, education opportunities that we provide to the community, like in summer classes and things like that.
Okay, so how often does this one meet?
It only meets once every 3 to 4 months.
And is it in the middle of the day, or when does it
You can make
meet?
that work?
We-
Okay.
We can make it work. Usually if it's community, we have to do it in the evenings, because the community members
Ah,
can't
okay.
get there.
Mr. Dorsey's gonna take that one.
Okay.
If you can't make it, I can probably make it work too, then.
And then we have to, for Ms. Fifth, and we're trying to get somebody for you. And if-
What is that, like, we're all gonna be, I'm gonna be here that day, but is it once a month, or what do y'all do, Ms. Fifth, then?
Currently, it's been once a month, just meeting to figure out how to get community and stakeholder input on how we want to move forward as a district with certain topics.
Oh.
So we took, the last time when we met in the fall, we took that information, we analyzed that, looked at the data, how are we going to move forward, and then when we meet in the spring, we'll provide an update with what we've done so far based on the feedback that we received then, and then how are we going to move forward based on new feedback.
So some of you guys went to the community strategic planning event. It was at GRC
Oh, yeah.
in November.
Yeah.
So we've been working on that input, put it together, put in planning, and we're gonna meet again on April the 18th.
Yes, sir.
Is our tentative date on that, so you guys will get an invite to that.
Yeah, I saw a community member has got an invite for that already.
So you guys will get one as well.
Okay.
We were just trying to get somebody on the committee and then
Does the
come talk.
finance committee just have to have
When
one
do y'all
meeting?
usually meet?
On Friday afternoons usually. This week, we're going to meet Friday morning at 8 o'clock. It's usually once a month, Friday afternoons.
Thank you.
Is there any ability to do it by Google Meet or Zoom?
Yes. we can make that happen.
I mean, I'm pretty flexible. I can make those kind of meetings work. So, do we have something for Mr. Bennett to do?
There used to be where we supposed to have two before, but we're revamping the finance committee. There was 2 board members on that. Is that still gonna be the same, or is that not?
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
I mean, I feel like I understand, like, with community, like this district wellness committee, like, or not district, I'm sorry, the strategic plannings, and I'm a social worker by trade. It's really like, social, it's my jam, so to
Your
speak.
wheelhouse.
So,
Well, go for it. and
yeah, I
we'll just
mean,
have-
I don't
we'll
think
have
I'm
Mr.
overly
Bennett-
committed or anything, so.
We'll have Mr. Bennett maybe shadow or
Yeah.
participate in any group that.
Yeah, I know it's harder
committee
for him because he works in Frankfurt. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's different when you're right here in town, so.
wants. Okay, so we got everything covered, it looks like. Okay, cool. I don't think no motion was needed on that, we just got it covered. Bet that you got it? Okay.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so,
Yes.
All right, next up is the superintendent's report. Mr. Howard.
Sure, thank you. So the spring meeting for the Strategic Planning Committee will be out April the 18th. So you beat me by 1 percentage point there, no. The other thing, we did discuss too about having the April board meeting at GRC. That's fairly strategic because we have a ton to celebrate in this community. I know boys and girls basketball got a lot of attention for being state runners-up in Final Four. Ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating things like bowling, archery, cheerleading, cross-country, you name it, we're going to celebrate it next month. We're going to invite a ton of the kids in. So any state qualifier that we've had, wrestling, we're going to have them up there and we're going to celebrate. It's not just sporting events, it's extracurriculars in general. As you saw today, we're celebrating that out of STLP and our world famous Miss Sturley, who carries Mr. Casey most of the time. So, I'm here. So that's going to be a gigantic event, so we encourage everybody to get out to that. Today, the only other update I have, I took my student advisory council, 24 GRC students from freshmen to seniors. We kind of invaded City Hall a little bit, so we took a bus down there, met with the mayor, judge executive, industrial park coordinator, parks and rec, the police chief, captains. We did a tour of City Hall, local projects. We went on construction site, kind of in downtown, looked at some projects they're doing. Saw the police department. I want to brag on, I know the sheriff's department, but our city police saw their brand new surveillance center. Not to make people paranoid, but you should feel safe. They are on top of it. We played around with their drone. The kids really like that. So I just want to thank our partners who took the time to meet with our students. The best part was the last 30 minutes, they sat up here kind of like us, and our students grilled them pretty good about what they're going to do for our community, why, as the next generations of our citizenship, want to come back here and raise their families. What opportunities are we going to build now that their children will enjoy? And it was a great conversation, and it wasn't with kids' gloves, so to speak. They really care about what Winchester and Clark County can be. Have that kind of passion from 14 to 18-year-olds, because we got superstars in our buildings. And I know we highlight some of them when we get here, but we got 5,500 to go to our school system, and most of them have potential to be outstanding. And they demonstrated that today, so I just want to brag on those young people. And again, the willingness for our, we have a city commissioner there also, so city manager was there, sorry throwing in other people, but it was a collaborative that I'm extremely proud of, so big shout out to those folks. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. On to consent items. We addressed one of those already that I had a question on. Is there any others that we need to pull off? Any questions on any of these?
I'm good.
If not, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
We have a motion by Ms. Ritchie,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. We have a motion. Have a motion to adjourn by Ms. Ritchie,
I'll second that.
second by Ms. Hall. All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 8:29. Consider how many students was recognized tonight. That was actually pretty good. You missed the recognition, was probably the best.